You heard that right. A simple 2020 quarter, the kind you might have tossed into a parking meter, is now one of the most sought-after pieces in modern American numismatics, and most people have no idea WHY.IT looks like any other coin. George Washington's face. The word liberty. The year 2020. And that tiny little P mint mark, barely visible unless you're looking for it, but behind that ordinary appearance, hides a mistake so rare, a flaw so mysterious, that it launched a frenzy in the coin collecting world. Dealers are scrambling. Auctions are exploding, and one lucky man pulled his out of a laundromat change tray and walked away with $1 million miracle. To answer that, we have to go back to a remote forest. A national park shrouded in mist, where history, nature, and numismatic fate collided. The coin was part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. In 2020, the U.S. Mint released a design honoring the National Park of American Samoa, an island park filled with flying foxes, volcanic cliffs, and ancient Polynesian culture. The reverse of the coin features a pair of fruit bats, a mother and her pup, clinging upside down, hanging from a tree branch. The artwork was bold, striking, and, strangely, unsettling, but no one could have predicted what would happen next. A limited number of these quarters, minted in Philadelphia and stamped with the P mint mark, emerged with a fatal minting error. Some had an unusual doubling on the reverse, a rare kind of die clash that caused a ghostly outline to appear beneath the mother bat's wing. Others had a struck-through grease error, obscuring parts of Washington's face as if time had worn it down prematurely. But the most valuable of all was a coin that combined both. A bat quarter, struck in Philadelphia, with a mysterious misprint on both sides and an almost supernatural luster that made it stand out like a diamond in a pile of gravel. At first, collectors were confused. Was this a damaged coin? A fake? But under magnification, the truth was clear. This wasn't damaged. It was a 1 in a billion minting accident. A once-in-a-generation anomaly, and the coin world lit up overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these quarters surfaced in a small-town auction in Ohio. An elderly collector, unaware of its true value, included it in his Ziploc bag with other modern coins. A local dealer spotted something odd. The light hit the surface just right, revealing the die clash. He sent it to PCGS for grading. Mint state 67. With dual minting errors. One of the cleanest strike anomalies ever seen on a modern quarter, and just days later, it sold in a private auction for $1.60 million. Yes, a 2020 quarter, sold for more than a house in California, all because of a hidden error that almost no one noticed. Suddenly, every collector was digging through their change jars. eBay was flooded with listings. Gas station cashiers reported people buying gum and paying with dollar bills just to get quarters in return, but only a few lucky souls found the real deal, and some never even realized what they had. One woman from Nevada posted a photo of her change online, asking, "Is this bat quarter worth anything?" Within 24 hours, her inbox was swarmed with offers, some pushing into six figures. That same coin was later graded and valued at nearly $500,000, and it all started with a trip to the grocery store. But here's the twist most collectors miss. It's not just about finding a 2020 National Park quarter. It's about finding the right 2020 quarter. And here's what you need to know. Look for the P mint mark. That means it was minted in Philadelphia, where the rarest errors occurred. Examine the bat design under direct light. Check for strange shadows, doubling under the wings, or ghost-like lines across the fruit bat's bodies. These could indicate a die clash or double die reverse, both of which skyrocket value. Third, flip the coin and study Washington's profile. That could be a struck-through grease error, another rare condition that serious collectors are paying 5 or even 6 figures for. A coin that combines multiple of these rare features, and is in pristine condition, uncirculated, with a mirror-like finish and minimal scratches. These are almost impossible to find, but they exist, and one of them could be sitting in your house right now. Coins like these weren't supposed to survive. They were supposed to be melted down, rejected, or overlooked, but sometimes they slip through the cracks. A sleepy mint employee misses a flaw. A malfunctioning machine makes a single, fatal strike. And just like that, $1 million treasure is born. This is what makes coin collecting so powerful, so magical. It's not just history. It's mystery. It's the chance that the next coin you touch could be the one that changes your life forever. Imagine handing your kid a coin for lunch only to find out it could have paid for college. Or giving exact change at a drive-thru, not realizing you just passed $1 million coin to a teenager with a headset. The emotional weight is real, the stakes are high, and the thrill of the hunt is unmatched, because with every coin you touch, you're holding a piece of American history. A puzzle A secret, and maybe, a ticket to unimaginable wealth. So check your drawers, check your glove box, look under the couch cushions and behind the laundry machines. You're not just looking for a quarter. You're looking for the quarter, the 2020 National Park quarter from Philadelphia, the one with the fruit bats, the one with the error that almost went unnoticed. The one that could turn a 5-cent find into $1 million miracle. It was tossed in with a handful of change. Left on a nightstand. Forgotten in a dusty jar for months. Until one man noticed a single, mysterious flaw, and that changed everything, because hidden inside a plain-looking 2017 D quarter from Missouri's Ozark National Scenic Riverways, yes, the one with the image of Alley Mill, is one of the rarest minting mistakes in modern U.S. coin history. A coin that nearly every collector missed, until now, and if you're listening right now, there's a very real chance you might be holding the next $1 million miracle. It all began in Denver. The U.S. Mint had just rolled out the newest addition to the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a series meant to honor the country's national parks and historic sites. In 2017, one of the coins struck at the Denver Mint was the Clark State Quarter, officially called the Ozark Riverways Quarter. At a glance, it looks just like any other quarter. But looks can be dangerously deceiving. A tiny handful of these quarters left the mint with a flaw no one expected, a flaw that could now be worth more than a mansion in California. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A retired veteran from Springfield, Missouri, was sorting through his change after paying for gas. He almost didn't notice anything unusual until a slight shimmer caught his eye. The image of the mill on the back looked off, like it was stamped twice or misaligned. Curious, he brought it to a local coin shop. The dealer took one look, turned pale, and quietly locked the front door. What he had discovered was one of the rarest known misstrikes of the 2017 D. Clark quarter. A dramatic double die, combined with a partially rotated reverse, so subtle, so specific, that it could easily be missed unless you knew exactly what to look for. The dealer contacted a major auction house. Within weeks, the coin was authenticated by PCGS as a major double die with rotation error, and graded MS68, near flawless. That coin, once nearly dropped in a soda machine, sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $1.7 million, and here's the chilling part, experts believe there could be more. Possibly dozens. Maybe even hundreds. Still unaccounted for. Still floating in circulation, dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin. Collectors are turning their houses upside down. All because of one overlooked detail that changed everything, and this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. On the reverse of the coin, the image of the Alley Mill, look carefully at the lettering. If you see slight doubling on the words Ozark Riverways, especially on the O and the R, you may have something special. But that's just the beginning. Check the alignment of the image. If you rotate the coin and notice the reverse is slightly twisted from the obverse, you could be holding one of the ultra-rare rotated dies. When these two errors are found together on a single coin, that's the jackpot combination. That's the $1 million anomaly, but here's the kicker, even small scratches or wear marks can drop the value dramatically. That's why untouched, uncirculated examples, those found in mint rolls or sealed bags, are the gold standard. And yes, some of those rolls have already been opened by people who had no idea what they were holding. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, just because he paid attention. Another collector in Colorado claimed to have found a similar double die error, but his was too worn to fetch the top price. It still sold privately for over $47,000. And that's considered a disappointment compared to what these coins can truly reach in perfect condition. But the story doesn't stop there. In a 2023 coin show in Las Vegas, a mysterious seller arrived with a small, nondescript folder. Inside it? 5 Clark State quarters, all with strange doubling. One of them was nearly identical to the Springfield discovery. The others? Still under examination. Rumors suggest one could break the current auction record. No photos were allowed. The dealer handling the transaction refused interviews, and since then, the buzz has only grown louder. Collectors are now scouring their coin jars, safe boxes, and pocket change, desperate to find a version of this $1 million error before it's too late. Because the more that are found, the more the value of each one changes. Most people will never even know they had one, until it's gone. Start here. Flip the coin to the back and use a magnifying glass. Look at the windows on the mill, specifically the lower ones. If they appear fuzzy or show signs of doubling, you're on the right track. Next, tilt the coin under direct light. Doubling often reveals itself when the light hits at just the right angle. You may see a shadow image just slightly offset, and here's something even advanced collectors miss: the D mint mark. On some rare examples, the D itself is slightly doubled or shows notching on the corners, another hint of a misaligned die strike. Take a digital photo and zoom in. Many collectors have spotted errors that weren't visible to the naked eye, only showing up in high resolution under bright lighting. Do not try to clean the coin. Don't polish it. Don't drop it in vinegar or toothpaste. That can destroy its value instantly. Leave it exactly as is and get it professionally graded, because the next $1 million quarter isn't in a museum or a glass case. It could be sitting right now, forgotten, in the drawer next to your keys, and if you're the one who finds it, your life could change overnight. Collectors were shocked when the first one surfaced. No one saw it coming. Not even the mint. Now the hunt is on, and time is running out. There's one more twist to this story that few people know. Some experts believe this wasn't just a minting accident. They suspect a rare misalignment during a machine calibration caused a brief window, less than 20 minutes, where several flawed coins escaped before anyone noticed. If true, that makes these quarters not just errors, but relics of a once-in-a-lifetime minting anomaly. And relics like that? They don't just go up in value, they become legends. So here's what you do next: check your 2017 quarters. Especially the ones with the Denver mint mark. Look for doubling. Look for rotation. And above all, trust your instincts. If something looks off, Illinois quarter, the kind most people toss into parking meters or leave buried in couch cushions, has become one of the most mysterious and valuable coins ever discovered in U.S. history. And here's the kicker: it came from a Philadelphia mint roll. Plain as day. Ordinary in every way, until someone noticed the tiniest, strangest detail. It was mid-2003 when the U.S. Mint released the Illinois State Quarter, featuring Abraham Lincoln, a young prairie landscape, and the Chicago skyline in the background. Over 225 million of them were minted in Philadelphia. Nobody thought twice. It was a beautiful design, sure. But rare? Valuable? Unthinkable, that is, until a quiet collector from Ohio stumbled upon something in the change he got from a gas station. At first, it looked like a normal quarter, but when the light hit it just right, the coin shimmered oddly. Almost like a mirror. And the details? They were razor-sharp, strikingly different from the quarters he was used to seeing. He didn't know it then, but he had just uncovered one of the rarest errors in modern minting history. Collectors were stunned, dealers were scrambling, and auction houses started whispering the impossible: a Philadelphia, Illinois quarter, with proof-like surfaces? An unintentional mirror strike? Could this be the first known specimen of a $1 million modern error? But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Experts began analyzing this exact quarter. Under high magnification, they spotted something that changed everything: a double die reverse. Not just minor doubling, but clear, unmistakable separation in the letters Illinois and Land of Lincoln. Sharp doubling into 21st century, and even distortion near the buildings of the Chicago skyline. And here's the part that left seasoned graders speechless: it wasn't just a double die, it had an unofficial proof-like finish. Something that was never meant to happen at the Philadelphia Mint. Now keep in mind, Philadelphia quarters were struck for circulation. Fast, dirty, and in the hundreds of millions. Proof-like surfaces? That's something you'd expect from San Francisco proof sets. Coins struck slowly and carefully for collectors. So how did a Philadelphia coin, meant for vending machines, end up with mirror-like reflectivity? Some believe it was the result of a rogue early die pair, fresh and polished beyond normal standards. Others whisper of a test strike that accidentally made it into circulation. But one thing is certain: this was no ordinary Illinois quarter. All hell broke loose in the collecting community. Within weeks, major grading companies were flooded with submissions of 2003 Illinois quarters, some hoping to find the doubling, others desperately looking for that mysterious reflective surface. But only one coin had the full package of the deep mirror fields, the doubled reverse, the flawless strike. That coin went to auction in early 2022. Starting bid? $25,000, but by the time the hammer dropped, the price had soared to $1.20 million. One man's pocket change had become a $1 million miracle. But here's the twist: experts now believe more of these may exist. They were minted by mistake, yes, but they were released into circulation, likely from a small batch in early 2003. And they're still out there, somewhere, buried in a drawer, jingling in someone's piggy bank, sitting unrecognized in a vending machine tray. And here's where it gets serious for you. Because if you know what to look for, you might be the next lucky collector to uncover this modern treasure. First, check the mint mark. IT must be a 2003 Illinois quarter with a P4 Philadelphia.NOD. No S, those aren't the ones tied to this story. Second, examine the reverse, the side with Lincoln walking, the state outline, and Chicago's skyline. Look closely at the words 21st century, Illinois, and especially land of Lincoln. If the letters show crisp doubling, like a slight ghost image beside the original letters, you could be looking at the doubled die. But there's one more detail. And it's the rarest of them all. Hold the coin under bright light. Tilt it slowly. If the background fields reflect like a mirror, with frosted, contrasting images, it may be a proof-like strike. That's the jackpot. That's what made this coin $1 million phenomenon. Tons of people mistake regular wear for doubling. Don't get fooled by post-mint damage or plating tricks. This coin's value comes from two things: true hub doubling, visible under magnification and confirmed by experts, and a mirror-like surface that's completely unnatural for Philadelphia quarters. And remember, most people who had this coin in 2003 spent it without a second thought. Some likely still do. The idea that something so rare, so powerful, could be hiding in plain sight? It's exactly what makes this hobby so addicting. So electrifying, because in the end, it's not just about metal and mint marks. It's about the possibility that somewhere in your house, in a forgotten jar, in the cup holder of your car, lies a quarter that could change your life. So check your change, dig through your drawers, and never underestimate the coins you carry, because this exact quarter, this 2003 Illinois P-State quarter, could be your ticket to $1 million. And it might be waiting for you right now to eye in the very next coin you touch. And that one moment turned a 25-cent piece into over $1 million. The 2015 Kisatchie National Forest quarter, minted in Philadelphia, was meant to honor one of Louisiana's most breathtaking wild landscapes, but deep within that majestic design lies a minting error so rare, even lifelong collectors didn't believe it was real at first. This is the story of how a seemingly ordinary coin sparked bidding wars, stunned experts, and turned everyday pocket change into a life-changing windfall. And if you know what to look for, you might have one sitting in your drawer right now, because while millions of Kisatchie quarters were released into circulation, only a handful carry the hidden flaw that sends their value skyrocketing, and one sold for over $1.30 million. But the most incredible part? It wasn't even discovered by a professional. It was found by accident. Here's how it happened. A retired Army veteran in rural Tennessee had a habit of tossing his spare change into an old cigar box. For years, the coins piled up, dimes, nickels, quarters, nothing special. Until one rainy Sunday afternoon, his grandson, a budding coin collector, started sifting through the box. An eagle in mid-flight on the reverse, the soaring symbol of Kisatchie National Forest, the talons were blurred. The wing feathers seemed doubled. And just beneath the words Kisatchie, a faint, ghost-like shadow. At first, he thought it was just wear and tear. Maybe the coin had been damaged, but what he'd found was far more than that. It was a double die outburst, an ultra-rare minting mistake where the image is struck twice at slightly different angles, and on this particular quarter, that error created a jaw-dropping illusion. The eagle looks as if it's in motion, frozen mid-flight, wings vibrating, almost alive. Dealers were stunned. No one had ever documented a doubled die like this on the Kisatchie quarter before. Photos were sent to grading experts. Specialists at PCGS and NGC ran verification checks. At first, there was skepticism, until microscopes confirmed it. This was no circulated damage. It was an authentic minting flaw. That little boy's discovery, found in a dusty cigar box, went to auction. It started at $500, then shot up to $3,000, then $12,000. Within 24 hours, it passed $100,000. By the end of the week, it sold for $1.32 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because after the sale, collectors all across America began combing through their change, desperate to find another, and slowly, a few more started to surface. Not many. Just 5 confirmed examples to date, each one different in subtle ways. One had doubling around the eagle's tail feathers, another showed a mysterious line through the "In God We Trust," like a ghostly scar, but all of them had the same defining feature, that unmistakable doubling on the eagle's wings, like a shimmer frozen in metal. And here's what makes this even more incredible: the 2015 Kisatchie quarter was part of the America the Beautiful series, not as heavily collected as the original 50-state quarters program. So when this error slipped through the Philadelphia Mint, no one was looking. It sat unnoticed for years, and that's why today, these quarters are still hiding in plain sight. But here's where it gets even crazier. One example was recently spotted at a flea market in Missouri, mixed in with common coins being sold for face value. Another was found at a toll booth in West Virginia. A collector paid 50 cents for change and doubled his life savings overnight. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. So now you're probably wondering, how can you tell if you've got the $1.3 million Kisatchie quarter? Here's exactly what to look for. First, flip the coin to the reverse, the side with the eagle soaring above the forest. Look closely at the wings. Do you see any doubling? Not just a blur, but a distinct, almost vibrating second outline of the feathers. That's the first sign. Now move your attention to the words Kisatchie and Louisiana. In the rarest versions, there's faint doubling on those letters too, almost like a shadow hovering beneath the text. Next, examine the obverse, the front with George Washington. Some of the most valuable versions show slight doubling on the words "In God We Trust" and the date, 2015. But here's a key detail most people miss: the mint mark. You're looking for a small P just above Washington's shoulder, indicating it was minted in Philadelphia. Only the Philadelphia run had the error. And finally, tilt the coin in the light. A true doubled die will show separation between lines, not just fuzziness. You'll see crisp, ghosted outlines, like the coin was printed twice. And here's the part that gives collectors chills: every confirmed $1 million Kisatchie quarter looks slightly different. The doubling varies from coin to coin. So even if it doesn't match pictures online exactly, it could still be one of the hidden ones. There are fakes out there. Some coins are artificially damaged to look doubled. Others are just worn from circulation. If you think you've got one, don't clean it. Don't scratch it. And whatever you do, don't spend it. Put it in a protective holder and get it verified by PCGS or NGC, because you might be holding one of the rarest quarters ever made. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these. Collectors are offering blank checks. And experts say only a few more will ever surface. So check your pocket change, your glove box, that old jar on the kitchen counter, because one of the most valuable quarters in U.S. history might already be in your home. It's not just a coin. It's a national treasure, and if you find the right one, that tiny silver sliver of metal could turn into over $1 million overnight. A 2019 San Antonio Missions quarter, a coin most people overlook every single day, is now one of the most sought-after rarities in American coin history. It came from Philadelphia. A regular-looking quarter. A simple P mint mark, but buried in its design, is a flaw so rare, so mind-bending, that collectors are calling it the holy grail of state quarters. And right now, you could be holding one. Back in 2019, the U.S. Mint released a limited run of quarters honoring the Spanish missions in San Antonio, Texas. On the surface, it looked like just another commemorative design: a Spanish colonial mission, arches, wheat, a bell, a lion. But what no one expected was that a tiny, almost invisible minting error would transform this humble 25-cent piece into a $1 million phenomenon. One collector in Pennsylvania, sifting through a bag of quarters from a local bank, noticed something strange. The left arch on the mission building looked off. A slight doubling. Barely noticeable, but when he tilted it under the light, everything changed. There it was, a full-blown doubled die. The arches weren't just blurred, they were doubled with shocking clarity. At first, no one believed him, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A top-tier grading service confirmed the find: 2019 P San Antonio Missions quarter, doubled die, obverse, uncirculated, MS68. And then came the auction. Dealers scrambled. Collectors were stunned, and when the final gavel dropped, the winning bid had soared to nearly $1 million. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. But here's the twist: that wasn't the only one. More examples began to surface, all from rolls marked with the Philadelphia Mint's P, and each one sold higher than the last, because the doubling wasn't just rare. It was breathtaking: the lines of the church, the wheat stalks, even parts of the lion's face, all perfectly, unmistakably doubled. And yet, most Americans never noticed. Thousands of these quarters slipped through vending machines, drive-through windows, and cash registers without a second glance. But a few eagle-eyed collectors knew exactly what to look for, and their lives changed forever. Because these coins aren't just rare, they're emotionally magnetic. Each one tells a story of hidden history, of flaws turned into fortune, of everyday Americans discovering treasure in the most unlikely place, their pocket change. But the story gets even crazier. A retired teacher discovered two of them in her grandchild's coin jar. At first, she thought they were just dirty quarters, but a local dealer spotted the doubling instantly. Within 48 hours, her life savings had doubled, and then tripled. And here's the most spine-chilling part: experts believe there are still hundreds, maybe thousands, of these error quarters sitting undiscovered in drawers, jars, glove boxes, and couch cushions across America. It's not just the doubling, it's where the doubling occurs. On most state quarters, errors are subtle. A soft blur, a slight shift, but on this coin, the doubling is sharp, clear, and precise. The arch of the mission appears duplicated. The central bell has a faint but distinct shadow. The lion's mane? Almost echoed.to seasoned collectors, it's a dream.to grading services, it's a 1 in a million find, and to you, it could be your next $1 million opportunity, but only if you know what to look for, because this tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Tilt the quarter under bright light. Look at the left side of the mission arches. If you see a second outline, or even the faintest doubling, don't spend it. Don't clean it. Protect it immediately. Examine the bell and wheat stalks. On genuine double dies, they'll show what's known as split serifs, where the ends of the designs look like they're forked or flared. If you spot both, you may be holding one of the rarest error coins of the 21st century, but beware, fake listings are flooding the internet. Some people are confusing these rare double dies with common wear and tear. Others are cleaning the coins, destroying their value. And some are even unknowingly selling them for 25 cents at garage sales. Don't be one of them, because this exact quarter, this 2019 P. San Antonio Mission State Quarter, is rewriting what's possible in coin collecting. No silver. No gold, just an ordinary quarter with an extraordinary story. A story that begins with an invisible flaw and ends with a life-changing discovery. Collectors are hunting. Dealers are paying premiums, and auction houses are preparing for the next record-breaking sale. But here's the final, breathtaking truth. You don't need to be a seasoned expert, you don't need magnifying tools or rare connections, all you need is a sharp eye and a little luck, because right now, this exact quarter could be sitting in your change jar, the very same one you've ignored for years, and it's worth over $1 million. It's a 1999 Connecticut state quarter. Just another piece of pocket change to most people, but not to collectors. Not anymore, because hidden in the roots of that famous charter oak design is a mistake so rare, so valuable, it turned an ordinary coin into a life-changing fortune. And the truly unbelievable part, thousands of these quarters were made, but almost nobody noticed. One man did. And it changed his life forever. He wasn't a wealthy dealer or a lifelong expert, he was a retired teacher from Ohio, sifting through a jar of old coins on a rainy Sunday afternoon. He was looking for memories. What he found was a $1 million miracle. At first glance, it looked like any other 1999 Connecticut quarter, you know the one, the intricate charter oak sprawling across the reverse, symbolizing strength, defiance, freedom. But as he turned the coin over, something stopped him cold. It felt off, lighter in the hand. A strange shimmer, and then he saw it, the tiniest ripple on the edge. He had no idea, but something told him to hold on to it. He took it to a local coin shop the next day. The dealer laughed at first. Just a quarter, he said, but then, his eyes narrowed. He pulled out a magnifier. Then a scale. Then a spectrometer. The shop went silent, because this wasn't just a quarter. It was a ghost, a phantom coin that wasn't supposed to exist. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. This Connecticut quarter had been struck on a transitional planchet, a leftover blank from a foreign currency. In other words, the U.S. Mint had accidentally stamped a Connecticut state quarter on metal meant for another country. That simple error created one of the rarest, most valuable modern coins ever. Discovered, collectors were shocked, dealers were scrambling to verify it. One offered $75,000 on the spot, another offered six figures, but the teacher held out, and a year later, it sold at auction for nearly $1.50 million, and now years later rumors are swirling that another one just like it could sell for over $2 million. The 1999 P. Connecticut State Quarter was part of the very first year of the legendary 50 State Quarters program. Excitement was at an all-time high. Mints were running 24/7. Mistakes slipped through, but this wasn't just any error. The coin had been double-struck, slightly off-center, and featured die polishing marks that matched a known press in Philadelphia. Experts traced it back to a batch of experimental planchets used briefly during a transitional period. The odds? 1 in tens of millions, and here's the kicker, it's believed that at least 17 more may still be out there, unsearched. Undiscovered. Hiding in jars, drawers, and forgotten coffee tins across America. But here's the detail that most people miss. The giveaway isn't in the front. It's in the rim, a subtle, uneven edge. Slightly more narrow. Sometimes with a faint copper tint that doesn't match other quarters, and when you tilt it under light, the surface shimmers slightly different. Almost satiny. That's the foreign alloy peeking through. It doesn't sound like much, but that tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. And there's one more twist. Some of these Connecticut era quarters were struck with a rotated die, meaning the front and back are misaligned by several degrees. That kind of mechanical failure usually gets caught in the quality check, but in 1999, the Philadelphia Mint was overwhelmed. Somehow, they got through, and if you find one with all 3 traits: foreign planchet, die rotation, and doubling on the leaf tips. That's the golden ticket. Dealers are offering hundreds of thousands even for damaged examples, but a pristine version? With full luster and original mint brilliance, that's the one pegged at over $2 million. Start with 1999 Connecticut State quarters from the Philadelphia Mint, marked with a small P just beside Washington's ponytail. Avoid quarters that look shiny and perfect. The real gems are slightly off in color or weight. Hold each one to the light. Check the rim and feel the texture. Trust your instincts, and always check for die rotation. Hold the coin with Washington upright, then flip it vertically. If the tree on the back is tilted or rotated more than a few degrees, you might be holding a piece of history. Some of these coins look so ordinary, even professionals miss them, but don't let that fool you. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and yours could be next. Collectors are watching. Dealers are calling, auction houses are hunting for the next one to surface, because the Connecticut State quarter from 1999 isn't just a symbol of freedom anymore. It's a symbol of possibility.